Welcome to On the Chain. This is Jeff here with co-host Chip. What is going on? Man, love the hat. Love the hat. You know why? Because Vitalik is attacking and has attacked XRP with responses from LBRY reports and the XRP community with some SEC Ripple updates from some of the known legal minds out there. And we're going to cover it all right now.
Let's go. Jeff, do your mic check. I think your mic's off there. We got to do a mic check. Mic check, check one. Here we go, guys. Let's go.
Welcome to On the Chain.
Yeah, how's your mic going there, Jeff?
You hear me?
Yeah, but it's picking up. It's not this microphone. It's the other one. So it's because I'm hearing the echo and it's not the deep Jeff voice that we're accustomed to. Guys, drop where you're from. Drop it right in the chat there. I want the city, the country. Drop it in as you enter the space, and we will get this puppy going. Okay, now it's rippling. Yeah, okay, Jeff. There's something up with your mic there.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, but it's coming in, and it's coming in phases. So it's kind of coming in a little bit weird. There's some kind of a mic. Yeah, there's something up with this. So we got Sudbury, Ontario, Canada. What's up? I know exactly where that is. Yo, where'd you get the hat? Yeah, I actually got the hat, Justin. I got this awesome hat when I went to the Ripple House. Actually, I got one in two colors. I got this one here, and I got I got a white one too, which is awesome. But I got that at the Ripple House. It was like a little swag bag they were giving out. So man, that's pretty cool. I love it. I actually wear it a lot. Pretty cool little hat, but thanks for that, man. And Vitalik has been a little bit, he's been a little salty lately. We're going to jump into that as well. We got a whole bunch of stuff about Vitalik. You know what, Justin? Quite honestly, man, shouldn't they sell these? I mean, wouldn't you want one of those hats? I mean, you think that you could buy some like really good merch. Actually, we'll put some merch on there. You know, I don't think we have that hat, but we have a merch store too that you can get some stuff. But we just need some cool stuff like with Ripple logo and something along those lines. Look in the land of Oz. We got Savannah, Georgia. Love Savannah, David. Great place. And we're going to get into a bunch of things. I'm only going to be here for half of the show because I have an appointment that I was unable to move. And Jeff will take you the rest of the way, which will be there's always some kind of technical difficulty. Sometimes we start late. But believe it or not, it's because sometimes there's technical issues. So I want to do is when Jeff comes back in, we're going to jump in. There's Oklahoma City. What's going on? XRP Panic says it will be a security. Yeah, I have something really good on that today as well. And maybe we should just start off with that. I'll see if I can grab it real quick here in our master file that Jeff and I use. Jeff and I rely on Google Keep. Put all of our stuff in there.
Hello.
Hey there, you're back, man. It sounds better than ever. That was very
USB.
It was really strange. There's something going on in there. I don't know exactly what it was. Somebody look at XRP Panic brought up that XRP is a security. Okay,
XRP
so look,
it's
a security. Yeah, it's a security. So look at this, Jeff.
Let's roll with that.
Let's look at this right here. I'm going to share my screen. This right here is awesome. Whoever did this is awesome. So it said
make believe.
Nothing to see here. So this is it. XRP. So in the red places, which is the US, XRP is the security, and then it has the rest of the entire map. And then you see it's all blue, and that is XRP is not a security. So basically the only place that and they're not even saying it's not been confirmed yet. The SEC is alleging that it is a security. I thought that was actually.
Yeah, right. The SEC is alleging, and the SEC is acting as though it's a security.
As if, yeah,
as if. But that's a really poignant map, pulling that together, and it just, consider, the direction, the financial mindset of people. Where's the major power struggle happening? Is it happening over in Europe? Is it in Africa? Is it in Asia? Even though we know in part, I think there's one country over there they should probably have highlighted where it's not even accepted. But for the most part.
But let's see how it started, how it ended. Those tweets you always see. It started like this, those memes, how it started, how it ended. Well, how it started was this. You had this guy, David, what's his name? DavidHoffman.eth. So that tells you a lot right there. The tip off.
What day was this? What day was this?
I don't remember when this. I don't remember what day was it or what David.
Yeah, no. What date?
What
You know,
date?
like in a movie, you know, it's like here's current time. We're going back.
Oh yeah, okay. So yeah, let's
like
get the actual
48 hours
date.
ago.
Let's get the date and time on that. How it started, 7:37, August 17th. Okay. And
Picture
2022. Yeah, thanks for picture the story. Yeah, picture the story.
There's a light breeze outside the window.
What the F? You buy 20,000 of Solana, a restricted cryptocurrency. Now you've got 20,000 of your 30,000 annual limit. If you want to purchase more crypto, you're limiting to buy a maximum of 10,000. Canada, what is you doing? So this is Canada. This is new regulatory changes in Canada for crypto.
Canada.
Glorious sun free. Is that how it goes? Jeff, I'll be honest with you, Jeff. When I was a kid, obviously I lived very close to the Niagara Falls. I was like in the in-between city, and we would walk across the Rainbow Bridge, and there's a line that says the U.S. and the Canada. As we'd walk, we would start singing the Star Spangled Banner, and then we'd start singing, and then we'd cross over. We'd start singing "Oh Canada," and we did it every time, and it was ridiculous.
Right.
And I don't know why we did it, but if I get the chance to do it again, I may just have to do it again, but super loud, like screaming it.
That's awesome.
Say, can you say? You know, like a drunk person. Maybe that had something to do with it.
But you see now, this is why, because look how insane it is over there, and they're crushing people's hopes and dreams.
But Jeff, do you see this? There's 4 unrestricted cryptos. What are they? Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and Bitcoin Cash. The Bitcoin Cash.
Ben.
Unrestricted. Buy as much you want. Drop $1 million. Not a problem, Jeff. Drop $1 million.
What about Ethereum Classic?
But you'll have an annual net buy of that's a good point. Doesn't list it.
Bitcoin
you give me that limit of 30,000, and basically in every province. So you've got New Brunswick, Newfoundland, Nova Scotia, Ontario, Saskatchewan, Yukon. 30,000 if you live in one of these provinces, which is all the provinces basically.
Which is every province in Canada. Is there anything left?
It's kind of like if you said, Jeff, if you live in one of these states, XRP could be a security, and then you list all 50 states, right?
Every one of them.
That's a really silly way to do it. Net buy limits will not impact you if you live in one of the following provinces. Okay, so there you go. So
I guess we missed those.
So if you're in Alberta, Manitoba, Quebec, or British Columbia, which is odd too. Why Quebec and British BC? It's weird.
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, so
majority. I mean, Ontario, right? So that's where Toronto is, and that's where a lot of the people live, and they live in Ontario, they live in Quebec, and they live in BC.
Oh, yeah. So what's interesting about that is so now you have a struggle of some of the major cities. So if you're in Montreal, another border town, imagine saying that you're over there in Quebec, but if you're in Toronto, you're screwed.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have mass migration of crypto holders and buyers to Montreal.
Yeah. So what do? You got to so the other part of it, how funny is this that Ripple just opened an office in Toronto, which is located in Ontario. And that's kind of how it started right there. And let's see what happened here. So we had this, and
here's a comment from Jim D. Canada crypto policy will increase demand by creating geopolitical shortages. Big challenge to balance liquidity.
There you go. Yeah. So here you go. So Vitalik commented on DavidHoffman.eth Tweet. He said, glad to see Ethereum people pushing against regulations that privilege Ethereum over other legitimate cryptocurrencies. And then he says in parentheses here, I've not dug into the details of what specifically is going on and to what extent it's a government thing versus a compliance decision of one business. But either way, ... right? And so David Hoffman came back in and said, if they restricted XRP, I wouldn't have said anything. So here it starts, Jeff, right? So this is how it started, right?
This is, So this was August 17th at 7:37 p.m.
There you go. And so Vitalik, and this is what basically woke up the XRP community. I like to say community versus
man. He got people enraged, but you know what? The guy, talk about straight foot in mouth.
Well, there it is right there, Josh. You want to read that?
Here we go. What do we have here? This is from Vitalik.eth. It's a good thing he's actually using his own platform. So we've got XRP already lost the right to protection. Here we go. Get ready for this. When they tried to throw us under the bus as China controlled, in my opinion. So this is an interesting point, and now, so imagine when you say, hey, Ethereum or Bitcoin, has a little bit of an imbalance in terms of one specific country, in terms of oversight control. And so he was obviously a little miffed about that. And so now fast forward, what is this all about though? So his feelings are hurt. You have people that have an opinion out there, and then he's going to come back and make a statement. Not that, he's thrown out, some whatever, he can have a different opinion, but the loss, they've lost the right to protection. Like zero thought about the impact on the entire crypto industry,
right?
Based on what's happening to XRP right now. I mean, zero, thought went into that comment.
Well, the funny part about that was now, if you want to like really drudge stuff up and you want to really go full blown psycho, he put this tweet out on December 21st, 2020. This is when the SEC dropped the lawsuit. He said, looks like the Ripple/XRP team sinking to new levels of strangeness. They're claiming that their S-coin should not be called a security for public policy reasons because Bitcoin and Ethereum are Chinese controlled. He puts the two laughing emojis. And of course, this sparked a lot of, different people. You got Mikkel there and you got Brad Kimes in there. So they went off on him, Kimes said, I guess that regard, you have the point, but it turns out that you're JPMorgan controlled. Care to elaborate on disguised whales investors that Joe Lubin taught how to create fake identities so ETH would appear more decentralized than it is? I mean, the community went nuts, but John Deaton jumped in. And this is one of my favorite tweets here. John Deaton says, Dear Vitalik Buterin. How nice does that start off, Jeff?
I like that. It's a nice opening.
Right. Dear Vitalik Buterin.
Very pleasant.
The more I think about your shameful and disgusting comment, and considering that you haven't deleted or clarified it, because this is like the next day, I realized that you didn't misspeak. So this is who John Deaton is. He gives him the benefit of the doubt. Okay, maybe he misspoke. Maybe he didn't clarify what he meant by that. And Deaton continues, this was an immature, hateful comment directed at the community of innocent digital asset holders and not Ripple. Yeah, it wasn't really that, that's kind of what he was levying there. LBRY jumped in on it.
I love this. I think this is really important, as we're looking at it as an overall chip, because so Vitalik, obviously an important player in the crypto space, makes this statement, and this is kind of along the lines of, Elon Musk comes out and makes a statement on a meme coin, or says something about a stock, and all the media focuses on what he's saying. For Vitalik to come out and, lash out like that, it's a really big deal in the space. And now, seeing, John Deaton step up, I think is important. Seeing LBRY step up.
Yeah, take that
which
tweet,
is the comment
Jeff.
You're going to read right now. Go ahead and read it. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay, so Vitalik says XRP and its users deserve to be wrecked by the government. Not for doing something wrong, but because Ethereum was insulted. Disappointing take from a guy who presents himself as intellectually consistent and principled. A very good take on that.
What do you think about that last statement, though? He's presenting himself as being intellectually consistent and principled. Now, the question is he? And has he? And does he?
Yeah, I mean, quite honestly, like I commented on that and I said, honestly, I don't really care what he thinks. I just don't. I mean, and you know what? And if you want to go attack a guy because he said that, it's like, if I really cared about it, I would be like, yeah, I would say it and all this stuff. But it's sometimes what master trollers do. They love to do that. Here's a good one here. So AP Physio says, Chip, this is not an issue for most retail investors. 30,000 net buy for retail per year. 100,000 is eligible and no limits for accredited investors. For alts only, consider the avenue income in Canada is under 53,000. The average income. The average. Thank you for that. The average income in Canada is under 53,000, but it doesn't matter. I mean, I get what you're saying, AP, but the other part of it is that there is a restriction because you can say, well, I mean, the chances of somebody buying more, okay, I get it, but why is there any restriction? Why can't people just be left to do what they want? Suppose somebody gets an inheritance.
Crazy restriction. Right, exactly. That's a crazy restriction. The fact that there is a restriction, but I guess, on the other side of it, you come over here and you're, unless you're an accredited investor, you're restricted from, buying pre-IPO, so there's, a lot of restrictions that are placed on us in the US, but in this scenario, this is all retail. So they're, like to your point, why have any restriction like that? First, the accredited investor thing,
yeah,
that's an issue, but why put one more issue into it? Why limit people on the amount? So that's like saying, Chip, sorry, but you can only purchase, $30,000 worth of stock per year. That's it. We're not going to allow you to buy more than that. So sorry. I mean, that's the craziest thing. What if, so let's say you make $53,000 a year, post tax, whatever the number is, it doesn't matter. Let's say you decide that you're going to put 100% of your income, into an investment. Let's say you want to put into crypto, you want to put in a stock, and you're going to do that this year. You're going to sacrifice whatever you're going to do. You have an opportunity to put it there. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot. You're being restricted by your government. Sorry, can't do it. Why would you want to be in that kind of a predicament, it just makes no sense.
Right. And I'll bring it back to this. And you can always bring it always back to this, but this was pretty prolific at the time. But this is what Reagan said. Reagan said the 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
I'm here to help.
And you know what? And this is the government helping again. It's like, well, listen, we're going to let you know if you can go ahead and do that or not. We're going to let you know because, we care. Big hearts, Jeff. Big hearts. Always looking out after everybody. They always want to make sure everyone's in a good state.
But remember, it's altcoins. So it's not Bitcoin.
No.
Or Ethereum.
Bitcoin
so that's even more repressive. I mean, that to me is kind of crazy that the government has now decided which assets they deem okay to buy over the $30,000 threshold, but they're going to limit you on everything else. I mean, it's an irrational thought process.
And what
almost
is that, picking winners and losers. We always talk about this all the time. The government, free market, the government can exactly. Zober nailed it.
It's all about control.
It's all about control. And then LBRY continued. They said Vitalik is typically pretty principled, even if he wasn't here. Hopefully, it is eating at him, and he has an exception. No one else has due to the corrupt behavior of his allies and the U.S. government. So, boom, a couple digs in there, Jeff.
Oh my God! Talk about a few shots, over the bow. That's
and Dave Schwartz jumped in, and this is my one. I think this is probably one of the best comments. He said, the government should punish projects that disagree with our narrative. Seems pretty on brand for Ethereum. Ooh.
Oh man, he's getting it left and right. He should have kept his mouth shut. What he said had no place, but I'm kind of with you, Chip. I don't really care what he has to say. However, he is in a position of power because he's in a position of importance in the crypto space. So anything he says, he has to watch what he says. Because it's damaging to the brand, and the brand is cryptocurrency, and he's just damaged the brand. And really, at this point, if there was a vote, there should be a vote to say, hey, you know what? You can't be a spokesperson for the brand anymore, because of what you've just done. You've damaged
Jeff.
it,
Jeff, they love it, though. This is the whole thing. It's like they love it. I don't know if he's a position of power. Maybe an authoritative, an authority figure.
He's an authority. Yeah, I mean, because he can influence outcome based on a statement that he makes. And it could be very damaging.
Yeah, let me just let me see here. Let me jump around here. Yeah, so I want to jump over to this too. It's another one. So Jake Chervinsky, who is supposed to be from, he says he's from the Blockchain Association, but they seem to only really care about anything that looks like Bitcoin or Ethereum. And he put out a tweet. It's been a full week since Dutch authorities arrested a Tornado Cash developer for allegedly concealing criminal financial flows. He wrote a whole tweet storm on this, like, I don't know, like 10, 15 tweets on it. They still haven't said he did anything but write code. This is a grave injustice. It's unacceptable. Full stop. Like, she even put full stop in there to convey the anger, Jeff. We deserve an explanation now. We deserve an explanation.
You should have put him another without that second full stop. The second full stop would have really emphasized the anger. It should have been, it's unacceptable, full stop. We deserve an explanation now, full stop. You needed that second full stop. Then you would have got the full emotion.
Then everybody would have been included at the amount of anger. So I just basically said, that's weird. I don't remember this outrage when the SEC went after Ripple. I don't know, unless I missed something. It's totally mum's the word. Nothing on that whole thing, Jeff. It was just incredible.
Nothing. It is crazy. And then you have guys like Vitalik coming out and saying they deserved it. They deserve what they got, but what's going on with that whole tornado cash? I don't know anything, and it's over in the Netherlands. So what's going on over there? Their laws are different than everywhere else. I don't know.
Yeah, Jeff, I don't know. I think, there's a lot going on right now. Again, somebody said earlier, it's about control. It's about control. The government, Metco says the government's at least 5 to 7 years behind. Yeah, I would say that's pretty on point. I mean, I would say at least some of that.
And they're not helping.
Some of that's on point.
Jim D, since one does a public decentralized asset as ETH, claim to be claim to need a personal champion like Vitalik to defend it. Who speaks for Bitcoin? Z, G. So, but that's a point, I mean, does it need a spokesperson or a personal champion? I think by default, being that he's, the founder of Ethereum, I think by default, he becomes the spokesperson for it.
Also, too, you got to remember, too, everyone thinks Vitalik, he was like 18, 19 when, I mean, he's in his early 20s. I mean, maybe mid 20s. Maybe can someone drop it in there? Maybe he's 26 now. I don't know what he is, but he's still pretty young, and if you look back to your 20s and stuff you would said in your 20s, Jeff, I don't know. I probably said some dumb things in my 20s. I probably say some dumb things now. I mean, from time to time, people say dumb things. John Dean put this tweet. What is he out there?
My old username used to be Metallic, so hearing Vitalik throws me off constantly.
Metcast, nice. Yeah, I would throw you off a little bit. Vitalik was like, whoa, it's not. Yeah.
Oh, what does AP say? Most financial. I said I was reading that as physical planners. Most financial planners will recommend less than 5 to 10% in a single asset class. Diversify. So I would gladly accept this rule to gain mass adoption of the space if banks, funds, ETFs enter at 5%.
Again, a good thing. Financial planners. Again, a bad thing when governments tell you what to do and how you should spend your money. It's your money. Do what you want with it, because no one's stopping anybody from flying from Toronto to Vegas and putting it all on either red or black. Nobody is stopping you. They don't care. See, they're not worried about that bit of it if you want to gamble it away, but they somehow have some grave concern if you're going to buy decentralized assets. That's kind of weird, right? It's kind of like the central bank centralization. Government is centralized, Jeff. They like things they can control, and they don't like things they cannot control.
Hey, Chip, we have some inside information from Sin City. Put it on red. Whenever you go to Vegas, put it on red.
So funny, Sin City, which
inside information,
which is another, which is a nickname for Vegas. I like that. And then we had John Deaton put this one up here. He said. Vegas. Because this was so Tony did a great interview with Tom Emmer. Let's get Tom Emmer back on the chain. So
we do need to get him back on. There are a few others that we've been working on getting over
sweater,
here.
By the way, I used to have a sweater like that when I lived up north. It's a great big old sweaters, man. You throw
if we get Tom Emmer, if we get him back on, we need to wear sweaters like that.
I'm gonna wear a sweater.
We'll all wear sweaters like that.
We'll wear sweaters.
I'll get it's a great sweater. It must be cold where he is, Minnesota.
So yeah, there was so Tom Emmer famously said in that last hearing, said there's a new day coming, sir. There's a new day coming. And Ashley Prosper said she was excited for this new day that Tom Emmer speaks of. It's about time the SEC was reined in. In fact, it's past time. And then John Deaton said, I believe it was either on the chain with Jeff or Chip or DAI when I said the one thing certain people fear is someone asking the right questions with subpoena power. Some dream of being a superhero with superpowers. I dream of subpoena power. And of course, Jeff, I did find that clip, and I did go ahead
and discovered.
It was, and I will I will put that up here as well, because
we have proof that here's the evidence that it was right here on the chain.
Was right on the chain. There's John Deaton.
Justice, and I'm telling you, the best opportunity that we have is that we have to get inquiries from the congressional leaders and Senate leaders on the banking committees. If we can get those inquiries, it can lead to an investigation. And once that happens, then trust me, I'm very confident we're going to find those things that are going to help us overcome those obstacles.
So that means that we're.
So Jeff, I had to know if you were. No, that's just a little bit, but I'm like, I like the same expression, the same. I'm wearing the same thing, same background. At least you're wearing a different shirt. I always have dark shirts, so I can't tell if it's exact same shirt, but this is your follow up.
I don't have to wait till after November to work on something like that. To get some again a more favorable climate.
Unfortunately, because I've spoken to 7 or 8 Senate and congressional offices. I've spoken to Congressman Warren Davidson personally. I've spoken to several senators, chief of staff, and things like that. And the Democrats right now control the hearings. We all know that, right? So on the Congress side, Maxine Waters controls what we're going to have hearings on. And they're just not going to take up valuable time to investigate one of, Gary Gensler's SEC, right? They're just not going to do it. So what we need is that to happen. We get different leadership, and we have people like Warren Davidson who did tweet. He replied to a tweet that was about these conflicts of interest, and he said, quote, "Sounds like a good hearing topic." Right? That's big. That's huge. Big. I know it's not what we want yet, right? We want justice now, and we want investigation today, but that's huge. And so we just have to be patient. And I think if we play the long game, then I think we can do some damage to these people who got away. Who think they got away.
Think they did.
That's
right?
it.
Think they did, Jeff.
They did.
That was damage. How weird is that? Like seeing us on the screen twice, Jeff. That's just pull us off.
Chip was like a paradox.
It was bizarre. I was like,
it was the time-space paradox.
I'm looking at myself. I'm looking at you. You're at least wearing a different color shirt. I mean, it was just too much to handle all at once. I just felt like, man, that's a lot going on. And
that was a lot. So where did you say what we're looking for?
What's that?
The paradox. His statement over the subpoena power. Did we get that part?
Well, no, he was just talking about he was talking about the committees have subpoena powers. The committees.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah.
So he was saying that he didn't remember if he said it with us or he said it to DAI, but he was basically saying that the committees will have that subpoena power. Right now they have zero power, and you had made the good point that we have to wait until after November.
Correct. Yeah. And man, this is great. It's so good to go back and look into the archives. John Deaton has really brought up some really important points, on the show. We got to bring John Deaton back on because as we're getting closer to November, we're getting closer to potential outcome of the SEC v. Ripple case. But I'm going to stick by that as well, that there's going to be no movement in that case until after November. Actually after January, I take that back. January 2023. November is going to be a turning point. Then
exactly. That's when the new Congress takes over. So JV, who's been on the show before as well, and JV said, so he tagged Tom Emmer, Patrick McHenry, and Warren Davidson. It's time to break formation and quit fighting air with fire. Time to fight fire with fire for this country's sake. So so he went after him, and he was talking about Tony's interview as well. And I said, you do realize that they're not the majority party in Congress after November. The House should flip, and then come January 2023, the new Congress takes over, and then it's game on. And then if you want to levy criticism, then you can levy the criticism. But see, I don't believe you should throat punch somebody when they're not in a position to do anything.
Well, especially since it's Tom Emmer, Warren Davidson, McHenry, and there are a handful of others that have pushed legislation in front of Congress to vote on. And it's not, so if they're working on legislation, they're doing their part. So, yeah, I will disagree with JV for coming out and saying it's, stop, bloviating and start, doing something. But at least, but what I do agree with is that JV's out there turning to the right people and saying, you got to fight fire with fire. And now the time. And so, he should have phrased it a little bit differently, to your point. It should have been phrased, hey, now you're getting to a point where, you have the opportunity come January. And just so you have the entire community, the entire crypto community behind you to help whatever is going to be needed, to get, true legislation passed through Congress. And thank God you guys are going to be, we're looking for a positive outcome. What help do you need to make sure that you guys secure the seats in November? That should have been the statement. Not
exactly like, hey, get behind these guys.
Bloviating.
Yeah, because Emmer's up for re-election. I mean, so it's not a gimme, or not Emmer. Warren Davidson is.
All of them. Yeah.
I think so.
Anybody in Congress is up every 2 years.
Yep. So there you go. And here you have. By the way, cover this story, Jeff, because this is the one. This is a good one to cover. But I have to go. I've got an appointment, and Jeff will take you guys home the rest of the show. But that's in the keep.
Let's go.
There's also a good John Deaton one in there as well that talks about the ERC20 token that the government's going after. The Dragon one, if you see that in there towards the bottom, the Dragon.
Some
so there's good ones to talk about in there.
Over here,
guys. Have yourselves
a lot
great
going on here, Chip.
Rest of the week. I've got to through some of that stuff in there. I gotta go. I got an appointment, but guys, have a good one. And Jeff will take you home. Solo it, Jeff.
You're out, Chip. You're out.
Out. See you guys.
All right. Goodbye, Chip. So now we can talk about whatever we want to talk about. What do you guys want to cover in the balance of the time here before tennis starts? So, one thing that I want to, just kind of step to the side a little bit, because there's another big case that has been in front of everybody that has really been concerning many in the community. And that is that some of these platforms, we're going to start seeing that the SEC is going after more and more platforms. Now, there's one platform in specific that that is on many people's radar at this point. So let's pull this one up, and it's an interesting point that we're at right now, because Celsius. So Celsius has been on many people's minds. Obviously, Celsius put all movement of asset on hold, on pause. They've frozen anybody's access to their digital assets, their whatever that might be. If you could be holding USDC or you could be holding Bitcoin, it is not moving. So consider this, that they have been asking for they've requested that, number one, they're looking for cash injection into this space. They're looking for offers. Now, a couple, big groups have looked into and considered buying, parts of the Celsius assets. The question is whether or not Celsius is considering selling. But the one thing that they are looking for is a cash injection, because they're behind by like $2.5 billion or $2.8 billion. So the other part is that that Celsius started a Bitcoin mining. And so they were looking for a request to start selling Bitcoin to help dig themselves out of the hole. And so initially, the court was not going to allow them to do that, but they did get approval to start selling Bitcoin that they're mining from their mining company, which is going to help offset their losses, which hopefully in the end will also allow them to free up their holders' assets. So there are some, statements out there. When they started digging into cash, there was some fear that they're going to run out of cash by October. Now, we look at many companies out there, so it's not just specific to, Celsius that made some errors, which really impacted many within the community. So it's an interesting point right now, because they're $2.8 billion in the hole that they owe depositors. Now, I was looking at another case that was, I forget the name of the main holder that's over in the UK, But in the U.S., they're all the Regal cinemas. They are like 6.5 to same $6.8 billion in the hole in debt. 6 point something billion dollars in debt. And the parent company of Regal is filing for bankruptcy. Now, Regal, the cinema house, has been expanding. The other largest next to them is AMC, and AMC was saved mainly because of their meme coin status, and that's what kept AMC moving forward. So here we have a lot of big entities that are in this space, not that are in bankruptcy. But here, from Celsius perspective, obviously there's a direct impact on us. My point was, kind of comparing it to another out there, another large company. So for them to actually have this opportunity to sell Bitcoin, I'm really hoping that this moves in the right direction, especially since I've used Celsius. So, this is really, a major issue. So here we have a document filed prior to the hearing showed that Celsius mined $8.7 million worth of Bitcoin in July. The company's operational and capital costs exceed that. Obviously, we know that that's the case. But let them start selling the Bitcoin that they're mining, and let's start seeing, at least some movement to start opening up the market for the depositors. And I think that, to me, is going to be, really, really vital, for all of us in the space. So let me go over here while we've been looking at this. We put up a poll, and this is really interesting. So we had a poll that I started. I'm going to end it right now. And the poll is based on one of the primary questions that we started with. There can only be one, right? There can be only one, and that is Ripple XRP, JPMorgan ETH, or China BTC. And what is the outcome? Interestingly, so we had 97 votes. We had Ripple XRP with 93%. That's what 93% of you guys have chosen Ripple XRP. JPMorgan 3%, and China BTC 3%. So there you have it. XRP wins the poll. Oh, look who decided to join us this morning. We've got, Chip joining us, probably on his mobile. What is going on? SoFlo Crypto, what is up? Got Sarasota. We got a lot of Florida in the house with us, which is great. It's always good to see, Florida represented here with us. So, all right, what is next? Here's another one that I wanted to look at because, we're looking at exchanges. What is going on with the massive exchanges? Now, FTX, they also were looking at Celsius, and then they said, oh no, they turned away from Celsius. The question was, is FTX, further ahead than most of the other exchanges? What was going on? What's behind all of that? Well, look what is happening. So crypto firm FTX gets a warning from the FDIC to stop misleading consumers about deposit protection. So the big statement is there is that they're protected, just like, with some of these other platforms that are self-insuring or, what have you. A big one, Celsius self-insures, Bitrue self-insures, Binance self-insures. And so here's this big one, statements that are made. The FDIC issued letters to 5 crypto companies demanding they stop making false claims about deposit insurance. So who are they? So we have FTX, Crypto News, CryptoSec, Smart Asset, and FDICCrypto.com. Here we have, obviously we know FTX. We know that it's controlled by Sam Bankman-Fried. They received a cease and desist warning on Friday from FDIC to stop misleading customers about the insurance status of their funds. So this is really a big idea. So what do we have here? Based upon evidence collected by the FDIC, each of these companies made false representations, including on their website and social media accounts, stating or suggesting that certain crypto-related products are FDIC insured, or that stock held in brokerage accounts are FDIC insured. So obviously, there's no way that any crypto-related product is FDIC insured. So if they've been misleading people into believing that, 100% inaccurate. Even within a bank, you can FDIC your holdings within a bank account up to a limit of $250,000. That's it. So in addition to FTX, the FDIC notified we already read who they are. What was the request here? Take immediate corrective action to address these false or misleading statements. The agency said knowingly misrepresenting or implying that an uninsured product is FDIC insured is prohibited by the Federal Deposit Insurance Act. So this is really a big deal. In the letter specifically to FTX, the FDIC said it appeared that on July 20th, the president of FTX published a tweet stating that direct deposits from employers are stored in FDIC insured accounts in the user's name. So this is interesting here. You know, the spin on it. We really didn't mean to mislead anyone. We didn't suggest FTX itself or that crypto non-fiat assets benefit from FDIC insurance. So they're basically holding them in insured banks. That's what they're doing with those held assets. But the FDIC is saying, hey, you're misleading on purpose. I don't know. You know, is it a fact that they're misleading, or is it another, government agency that is out to attack the crypto space? Are they trying to get a little bit of clarity, make sure that they mind their P's and Q's? So I think that's a big part of it. So in the absence of a clear path, in the absence of regulatory clarity, it's possible that things like this can happen because they're going to say and maybe twist the narrative a little bit to get people into a specific comfort zone over their crypto asset holdings. So that's the big question. Was it something on purpose? Did they put kind of a marketing spin on it to get people to, believe that their holdings are FDIC insured? Or is it a case that the FDIC is really reading into something that doesn't exist? Or are they, specifically going after, some of these exchanges? But they're not going after all the exchanges. They're only going after a handful that are kind of walking a very, fine line. So I think that, is definitely, something important here. So, all right, we have some of this stuff on the Dragon case. Now here's another one. Let's pull this up because this is the SEC. There's a lot going on with the SEC, on the attack. So let's see what we have here. See if we can get, here we go, the playbook of the SEC. So this was John Deaton put this one up. Let's pull this tweet up. So John Deaton was saying, this is what the SEC does right here, the playbook of the SEC. Right? Too bad Dragon's been fighting off the SEC since 2017 and might run out of money and keep paying the legal fees. The SEC waited until the statute of limitations was almost up in both the LBRY and Dragon chain cases. They did this to run up costs and attempt to bankrupt the companies. Unfortunately for the SEC, we've got more money than ever. So this is a major statement, that LBRY is throwing out there, that the SEC put a strategy in place. Again, this is a direct attack on the crypto space with the hope of dismantling a company within the crypto space. If this is indeed the exact strategy they've used, and now that they've done it twice, there is a little suspicion out there that maybe there was some ill intent. So here you have the SEC waiting until the statute of limitations was almost up. And LBRY saying specifically that it was done on purpose to drive costs up, hoping to bankrupt the company so they'd run out of money so they wouldn't be able to continue with their case. Now, if the SEC has to use, these questionable tactics, not saying that they can't do it this way, but if they can't rely on the facts of the case, and the SEC isn't in business, isn't supposed to be in business to dismantle and destroy businesses. The SEC is meant to protect retail investors, and that also then means that the SEC is there to help and make sure that companies are, walking the straight and narrow, but not putting in practice of strategy to disrupt the flow of that company and purposely undermining the integrity, the financial integrity of the company. And that's kind of what we're seeing here, is that it's a very, very bad, bad showing for the SEC. So here we have XRP Breezy was saying, Ripple, LBRY, and John Deaton for all crypto. F off to everyone else watching from the sidelines in the fight against the SEC overreach. And that's what we're seeing over and over and over and over again. Such a shameful waste of tax dollars. Seriously. And think about that. Think about that statement. that here we have the SEC coming after all these companies, waiting and driving and really prolonging the case when there's no reason for the case to be prolonged to the length that it is. And the SEC looks at it and says, well, we have an endless amount of money. They can keep drawing on their endless resources. You know why? Because it comes from the taxpayer. And again, this goes back to something we were talking about the other day, that here you have unelected individuals. So these are either appointed like Gary Gensler, or they're hired and they're working for the SEC. So what do they have from their perspective? Why would they care about protecting the individuals? Why are they concerned about protecting individual liberties? Why are they worried about protecting the integrity of companies? They're getting a paycheck. Do they really care? And so what we're seeing is this, this idea that, these cases go on and on and on, and they're just spending a ridiculous amount of money. Can crypto companies join forces and just file one lawsuit against the SEC, doing this, what does that say? Refulsion by enforcement with guidelines of, I mean, it's really crazy. And this goes back to Gary Gensler, who believes so passionately in his pillars of enforcement. So, this goes on and on and on, which is amazing, right? It's just crazy. So let's see, what else do we have here? We got some other good things here. Let's see, what do we have that could be fun to play? Oh, here's one right here. So let me see, which one is this? This is, looks like, played that. Looking for some good stuff here that we put in that we haven't covered yet. Let's see. Here's another one that is perfect to cover. Let's see. It looks like we have an overlap of 2 tweets coming up as one tweet. So let's see what we got here. So this is from James Filan. Let's pull that one up, and then let me get a Jeremy Hogan response to this one. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Okay, so let's go over this real quick. This is SEC v. Ripple case updates. So let's start with the James Filan first. So here we go. This was posted yesterday morning. So this is brand new stuff. So we've got, all right, Ripple defendants have filed a letter proposing narrowly tailored redactions to a limited number of exhibits to the briefs filed by the parties in opposition to the motions to exclude expert testimony. So this is continuing, right? They continue to want to have redactions on, a lot of the different filings. The SEC obviously pushing to have full redaction or not even allow the Hinman letters, but it just keeps going on and on and on and on. I'm really shocked, as we're seeing this, and this is a narrative. The SEC is definitely utilizing technique that is otherwise really should be questioned. Now here you have Jeremy Hogan says Ripple is requesting relatively limited relative to the SEC redactions of exhibits, mainly to keep non-parties' names out of the pleadings. Okay, that makes sense. I like that. Let's redact and keep the non-party names out. Whereas on the SEC side, what do they want to do? They want to redact all the actual fact, and they want to take fact out of it. So here you have could digital asset market participants be referring to actual XRP retail purchasers, crossing fingers. Now imagine that one. Imagine, having some sort of a statement on the XRP purchasers. So here's some of the commentary there. Most likely referring to ODL participants, but hey, waiting for my subpoena. I'm not a pro, and yes, I'll keep my day job. So let's see what else we got here. Ridiculous how this case is completely off topic and the court entertains the SEC with all its farce. Suit brought against defendants based on zero clarity and zero evidence of charges, and where for 2 years plaintiffs allowed to defend their farce, which is crazy. And in what case, does the plaintiff continue to just drag this on and on and on? And the SEC brought this case. It was the SEC that it was so clear to them that that XRP was a security and Ripple is guilty of selling an unregistered security. They're so confident of that fact, and what do we get? You get none of the above. So let's see here. Space saying Flare snapshot came before the lawsuit. Think about this for more than 3 to 4 seconds. I thought that was interesting too. So a lot of things going on. Man, it's the gift that keeps on giving, so to speak, in terms of really getting into and dissecting, the direction that this crypto space is moving. And the reason why I say that is because if it was not important, nobody would care. But because there's so much focus on this, it just proves how significantly important crypto is on a global scale, that is being emphasized by every financial institution, every government that is lashing out, specifically here in the U.S. with the SEC and Gary Gensler lashing out on a continuous basis against Ripple, against XRP holders. And this entire case is so significant, mainly for that purpose. Again, if it was not important, nobody would care, and it would just kind of be, pushed off to the dustbin of history. And that's not the case. And so, nothing important has gone down, easily. There's always going to be some issue and turmoil, especially when something is ever changing, like crypto, that is really going and is and will revolutionize the way money moves, the way money works, and the way we all interact with it. And so that is the point. And that's why we're seeing Canada doing what they're trying to do. And that's why we're seeing Gary Gensler do what he's trying to do. And that's why we're all here. So, nothing comes easy. And we're going to ride this roller coaster up and ride this roller coaster down. The one thing that is certain, if we look back 10 years, and this is kind of a wrap up, but if we look back 10 or 11 years, when crypto was in its infancy, starting with the rollout of Bitcoin, think about where we've come in 10 short years. 10 years from now, this space will be unrecognizable and will be that much further ahead. And if we've gotten this far in 10 years, going from the decimal points of 000, think even XRP was at 0006 to where it is today. Think about where it's going to be in 10 years. So it's amazing. It's amazing across the board as this space is fighting for its survival, so to speak, fighting for its relevancy. And if you put it on the flip side, the old brick and mortar institutions are fighting to maintain their relevancy. Think about that. So with that, you guys have an amazing day. Glad that you guys were all here with us this morning. We'll look forward to seeing you guys back on again Sunday evening, tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bring questions. We'll be here. We'll look forward to seeing you guys on the next one. I am out. There it is.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.